Hi everyone, I'm Monique Jacobs with Open Gate Quilts, and I have my husband doing the camera. Say hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hope everybody's doing well tonight. We are going to do a little hand applique tonight. I figured that last week we did machine applique, so I thought we would do a little hand applique. I love the look of hand applique. The only problem is it takes a lot longer than machine applique, but I actually really like doing it too, because it's a very relaxing thing for me. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks. I'm going to do a basic, and then maybe in a couple of weeks as we get a little farther into our book that we're working on, I will show you a little more details and show you some other things. But tonight I'm going to show you how to get things ready and do a little bit of applique. Speaking of applique, this is one of my patterns. This is called Secret Garden. This quilt uses some antique tile designs for the applique pieces, and my wonderful friend Sandy Piper actually made it for me, and I believe Kelly Edwards quilted it for me. And actually, no, I'm wrong. It was Leanne Olson quilted it. Sorry, Leanne quilted this for me. And this here uses my first fabric line that I designed, Old World Style. And this quilt is, like I said, my probably one and only applique quilt I designed. Maybe I'll come up with some more, but at this point, this is my first one. So this one's called Secret Garden. This quilt over here is another applique quilt, and I believe this quilt is actually designed by Joe Morton. And this quilt hung in my sewing room for years and years and years because I absolutely love the fabrics, the colors, the design. It was one of my favorite quilts, and it was just so nice to see it again because I haven't seen it for a while. So that is an older pattern, and I believe it was in an American Patchwork and Quilting. So those two are applique. This quilt is going to be our giveaway pattern for one lucky winner. And how do we get to pick our lucky winner, honey?
We have to like it. We have to share it.
And we have to comment. So
tell your friends about us, folks.
So, yeah, and tell your friends about it. This is in honor of Valentine's Day, which is a week away. This is called candy something. Box of chocolates. There
Box
it
of
is.
chocolate.
Oh, I pulled that out of my head there. This is Box of Chocolates. This is one of my older quilts that I designed, and the lucky winner will receive this PDF pattern, so make sure, comment, like, and share. And this is actually a fat quarter quilt, which is kind of cool too. So if you have some cool Valentine's fat quarters, or any fat quarters, this is a fun quilt to make. So that is the giveaway. So make sure that you do all those things, comment. And that brings us to next Thursday. We will not be here.
And why is that?
We are going to a concert for Valentine's Day. Mark and I are going to see John Mellencamp. This is the 80s girl and guy speaking here. We're totally 80s people, and we're just so excited to see this concert. So, so we will not be here, but we will be here in 2 weeks. So make sure that you tune us back in 2 weeks. And we will continue with our book. So let's get to what we're doing tonight. Remember that it's out of the Splendid Sampler 2 book. So make sure that if you don't have it, you can pick it up. I am doing blocks that have already been posted on the Splendid Sampler 2, and they were free. So you can pick those up. I am going to do a pineapple block. So this is the block that we are going to work on tonight, and it is by Jane Davidson, which is the co-author with Pat Sohn for this book. So if you haven't picked it up, you can pick this up. I'm sure Pat has it on her website or her Facebook page, her blog, all that stuff. I'm sure she has it on there. I'm sure Jane has it, and I know that you can pick it up at your local quilt store or on Amazon, so they do carry this. So we're going to do the pineapple the fashionable pineapple. Fashionable.
Fashionable.
Fashionable pineapple.
I don't know,
So,
pineapples could be fashionable.
yeah, I didn't know they could be fashionable either, but hey, more fashionable than me, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to go over a couple of things that I use when I do applique. One of the things that I do use is freezer paper. You can pick this up at any grocery store. I just picked up this freezer paper and it'll last you a long time. Why do we like freezer paper? We like the shiny side that has a little bit of wax on it that will adhere to your fabric, and then the paper side which you can draw on. So that's why you want to use that. So
wax on, wax off.
Again, 80s. So that's what that is for. Needles, I like a straw needle. What is a straw needle? A straw needle basically looks like a piece of straw, and they're long and thin. That's why I like to use a straw needle. So when where would be better to see it? Can you see it on there? So when I'm doing hand applique, I really like to use those. They're a little thinner. This is a size 11, so it's a little smaller. But I do like it because it bends nicely when I'm doing my applique. So I've got my needles. I have some nice scissors that I can use for... Don't touch the scissors. Do not touch the scissors. And Trudy, I have my paper scissors today. Trudy was like, I can't believe you're using your nice scissors for paper. Well, I remember to bring my paper scissors. So I've got my paper scissors and I have my regular scissors today. So I have my nice scissors. These are my Dovo scissors. These only come out on special occasions, and I only use them for fabric or threads. So, any questions yet?
No questions.
No questions. Does everybody think we're crazy?
A little bit.
I was thinking, what is something that people don't know about me? I'm a little goofy. And Mark didn't know that about me when he first met me, because, you know, you don't really want to show your goofy side until after you've known somebody for a while. So I am a little goofy, and I guess I'm in a goofy mood tonight. So, anyway, so then what I do is I have my scissors, I have my thimbles. I like those thimbles. I have my thread. When you pick your thread, you want to match your applique piece. So you're going to want to use, like here I would use a green, and here I would use a creamy gold color. I can use some of my awesome Aurifil thread that I got, so I am going to use that for the green. But I did not have a gold in the Aurifil, so I'm going to use my Metler. Now, I did use this Metler is an embroidery rate, so it's a little thinner. So when you are, it's much easier to thread, and you won't see the threads as much. So that's why you want to use a little thinner thread. So what I do is I'm going to take, and I always read my instructions just to make sure that I do things correctly, because sometimes I'll go ahead and not read them and do it wrong. So we don't want to do that. So what you'll do is you're going to take your freezer paper, you're going to take your patterns, and you're going to draw on the paper side of the freezer paper, have the shiny side down, your pieces. So go ahead and just trace them on the line. And these tell you exactly I need one pineapple front, one pineapple background, and one pineapple leaf. So I already did that. I went ahead and did that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, let me get a piece of fabric. Of course, I probably put it somewhere really smart. Now I can't find it. So I'm just going to pretend, and I'm going to put it on here. Now when I do this, I'm going to take the shiny side and fuse it to the right side of the fabric. Now with batiks, there's no real right side, but with your regular fabric, there is a right side, so you want it on the right side. Now I am doing this with the freezer paper on top. You can put the freezer paper underneath and turn the edges under. In that case, you would have to reverse the pattern because your freezer paper would be on the back. So you have to be careful. Now with the pineapple, it's not gonna make a difference because the pineapple is basically reversible. But if you are doing something that has like a flower going this way and a leaf going this way, if you want them to go this way, you're gonna have to do your freezer paper on the back. So just keep that in mind. Now with the pineapple, what they told me in the instructions, because again, I read the instructions, to trim it around without a 1/4 inch seam. And the reason we did that is that I'm just gonna be putting this on the back of this piece. Now for the actual pineapple, I did cut it out exactly on the line, and then I gave myself a 1/4 inch seam. Actually, it's a little bigger, but you can always trim that down to it. They say a scant 1/4 inch seam. Then you're also gonna want to cut out all these little squares in here. And then what I did was I went ahead and cut little X's in here so that when I do my applique, I don't have to do that as I'm going along. And I don't cut into the back of that because this is going to be behind these little holes. So this is basically called, I'm trying to remember what this is called. Just had it in my head and I will remember it. So what this will do is that'll go underneath. So then I'll take my background of my pineapple, and you can either glue it in place using like Roxanne glue based it, or you can use pins. Whatever you feel comfortable with, you go ahead and put that. So I have that on the back. And then what I'll do is I'm going to sew around one of these little squares here. Does anybody have any questions yet? Okay. So I have my thread. I need to put a knot in, and I learned how to do this cool knot. So this is the tip for the day. What you're gonna do is you're gonna make it an X. Then you're gonna wrap this around about 3 or 4 times, grab the thread and pull it through. And see how you get a nice little knot. Instead, remember how your mom taught you to wet your fingers and pull it through? You don't have to do that. This is again, and I said doesn't always work either. Okay, so I have my thread.
And that was your tip of the day.
My tip of the day. Tip time. Okay.
We gotta watch it from Sicily tonight.
Sicily, cool.
Yes, we
Ooh,
do.
I've never been to Sicily. That's
Ciao.
cool. Ciao. Welcome. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to sew around this little square. So what I'll do is I'm going to come up from through my little slit here. I'm going to come up in here. You can see it here. Okay. I'm going to pull it through. And then I'm going to, using my needle, push that down. Okay, does everybody see that? Using my needle, I push that in underneath. When you hand applique, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to have it perpendicular to your seam. Okay? So I have it perpendicular to the seam. And when I do this, I'm going to come into my background and come up just a little bite, a thread or two, into my applique piece. So I'm just gonna, and what happens is your thumb helps it to hold it in place and helps it. And you want your stitches about 1/8 of an inch apart. You're just going to keep stitching till you get to the corner. And then I'm going to again push this under. And turn it so I can continue to applique. So I just take a little bite and go through. And as you do this, if you're just starting hand applique, your stitches might be a little bigger. Don't even worry about it. That's part of the learning. It takes a while to get them a little smaller, and I can see my stitches are a little bigger too because I haven't been doing it in a while. So as long as you don't see them, and that's the nice thing about having thread that matches your applique piece, because it hides your thread, and also the thinner thread so that you don't see it as much. All right, get to the corner, do my last one, poke that in there, and you just kind of sweep it like this. So use the edge of your needle and sweep it under. And if it's not perfect, nobody's ever gonna know. It's our secret. Oh, I got a little knot. Do I have a knot? Because I made it too long.
Want to answer some questions?
Oh, sure. Well, I fixed my knot.
Is the thread single or double?
Single. So you want it single. To prevent getting a knot like I have, because it's gonna, you can tell it's gonna be a pain, you can use some kind of that wax, or don't make your length so long. I made it too long, so that's why I'm having this trouble. So anyway, if I have that problem, what I do is I'll have to cut it off and continue to applique. All right, so once I have all my little insides done, the next thing you're gonna do, I'm gonna cut that off. I'll fix it later. Is you're gonna take your background, and what they have you do with your background is you cut it 7 inches. And this is a 6.5. Remember, all the blocks in this are 6.5 unfinished, so 6-inch finished. So I went ahead and cut it a little bigger like they recommended. And I don't know if you remember from last week, when I do applique, machine or hand, I like to make it larger. And the reason is sometimes that you're off a little bit, you can square it up and make it just perfect. And then your edges are nice. Because by the time you are done playing with this and messing it around, sometimes you got a little bit of fray going on. So that's why I go ahead and did that. Make it a little larger. And then what they recommend is to find your center by doing a diagonal crease. And you can use the iron. And then you're gonna take your next applique pieces, so your top and your pineapple, and you're going to kind of put them in where you think they should be. And when I do this, I'm going to start with, you always start at the bottom level and layer and work up. So I would applique all around here. You don't necessarily need to applique the bottom because this is going to go on top, but if you want to, you certainly can. And then I would go ahead and applique this on top of it. Then after I'm done appliquing this, I'll take my freezer paper off. After I'm done appliquing this, I'll take my freezer paper off of here, and then I will have a pineapple. So that's just a basic quick how to do applique. This actually would be a fun one to start with because these are really easy to do because you make your little X in there and you can do your applique. Then you can do the outside. It's got gentle curves. These are not super pointy. when you get to the inside, what you want to do is you want to cut to your point there, okay? And if you want to kind of make it like that, and let me show you a little bit how to do your points here. I'm just going to use this thread because it's already threaded. But you could, I will finish this later, but when I do it, I would go ahead and use a thread that matches better. But I just want to show you how we do this. So again, we're going to start here and use your needle to sweep that under. And what's nice about the freezer paper is it stops it from moving in too far. Another thing that you can do with before you start appliquing and putting it on your background is go ahead and finger press your seam. This helps because your fabric will have a memory, and as you sweep, it'll go under nicely. So that's another thing that you can do to help yourself along. If you find this is too small, you could go to the copy center and make it a little bigger and start with a bigger block and then just work your way down, practice with this, and go to a bigger block. But this has some nice curves, not too pointy, not too hard to do. So it's a nice thing, nice one to try. Okay, so then once I get to, again, the inside point, I'm gonna sweep this down and I'm gonna continue going on here. And sometimes you'll catch your freezer paper. That's no big deal, it'll come out. And then keep going. And I'm gonna show you when we get to the outside point how to handle that. So once I get here, what I can do is I can go in underneath and trim away a little bit of that excess so you don't have so much bulk. And then what you'll do is, if you can get your needle here, is you're going to go and do the top, sweep the top under, and then sweep the side under. And then you can stitch that down. And if you look underneath, you can kind of play with it and get a nice little point there. So it's not too pointy. That's what's nice about these. They're not too super pointy. And if you're off a little bit like I am, no one's ever gonna know. So that is our applique lesson for tonight. So if you guys have any questions about it, please let me know. I can answer them for you. And I will also, like I said, in a couple of weeks, we'll get into some more little details on applique. Next week we won't be here, but in 2 weeks, we'll probably do a little more piecing, so kind of mix it up a little bit. And if you see a block in there that you think, oh, that'd be great for a technique that you think that you would like to learn, let me know, because I will do it.
Quick question.
Quick question.
What kind of stitch was that?
It is a hand applique stitch.
Okay.
Okay, so it's all hand applique. So it's just a real small little stitch.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
So.
All right, everybody. Remember, we won't be here next week, but to get a chance to win a box of chocolates, not real box of chocolates. Hopefully you'll get a box of chocolate from your sweetie. To get a chance to win this quilt, box of chocolates, you need to comment, share, and like, and I will make the announcement after and send you the PDF of this pattern. And hopefully everybody will have an awesome Valentine's Day, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. quilt bind and enjoy. Bye.